Fated Strigas a rise seal contract each born of a year. Girls the fate ink consumed by hunger sealed between bleeds into no a name he mercy, and never silver can malice sate spoke high's daughter. His gloved hand brushes sister's blood Visima's notice board. A peasant lingers at the inn's threshold, breath shaky. Ada the name etched in wax, not a curse to break but a weapon to refine. Ink king's guilt, girls the fate ink consumed by hunger sealed between bleeds into no a name he mercy, and never silver can malice say. The contract on the beast of white orchard, a faded seal, Foltest of Temeria. The ink bleeds into a name he never spoke high's daughter, his sister's blood. This hunt was never about the beast, voice cracks, a witcher's signet damns as it saves. Foltest's guilt a blade turned inward, carved a Striga's hunger into her veins. He called it mercy, the code called it duty. The child who drank his sin became a weapon, a curse refined in the silence between father and sister, king and kin. The manor's bones creak, a lute's mournful refrain haunts empty halls, portraits gaze, eyes hollow, as if the king and his sister still watch. Outside, Velen's bog breathe us a black, sluggish mire mirroring the rot within. Here, at war's edge, the contract was sealed. Geralt's hands, steady, precise, pressed a cure into a child's mouth. What he gave was no salvation. The girl's veins turned to thorn, her soul a gilded cage. As in Visima the cure became a prison, the bog's breath deepens. It hums with unspoken bargains, the weight of a code that demands blindness. Tausaint's vineyards, ripe and golden, know nothing of this hunger. They do not hear the girl's whispers, trapped between two deaths. Her flesh, once soft, now aches with the need to consume. The lute plays on, a dirge for what was lost before it was taken. No one questioned the witcher's work, the code's silence is a blade. The manor's shadows hold their tongues, the bog holds its breath. And the girl, never truly saved, walks the line between mother and monster. Her hunger is not a curse, it is a verdict. The emissaries spoke in measured tones, their parchment bore the seal of kings. Asterisk purify the girl asterisk, they said, as if the word had no teeth. A ledger later recovered lists sums paid in silver and shadow. Foltest's sigil graces the final column. A chamber once Ada's, now holds only dust. No sign of a child, no trace of a monster, only the scent of old blood. Did Geralt see the truth in her eyes? Or the hunger he feared to name? The Witcher Code demands detachment. It does not ask its hunters to question the hands that pay them. Foltest's daughter became a weapon, not the one he wielded, the one she bore. A Striga's curse is a prison, but in Ada's case it was a throne. Foltest did not beg for salvation, he bargained for an instrument. Geralt's silver did not break the cycle, it ratified it. The girl who screamed in the crypts was not the victim of a witch, she was the consequence of a witcher's gaze. The hunger is not a curse. It is a verdict, the verdict is not yet final. Geralt followed the blood to a shrine veiled by ivy. The priestess spoke in hushed tones. Foltest's daughter bore the mark of kinship. A family tapestry hung torn, Ada's name scratched from the weave. The witcher's hand had sealed her fate. He had not asked the right questions. Only the convenient ones. The code demands neutrality. It does not demand sight. The priestess showed him the letters, Foltest's seal bound to his sisters. A union of crown and shame. Ada was their sin made flesh. Geralt had seen the hunger in her eyes, mistook it for monster. It was hunger for truth, for a name. For a self the king had erased. The Striga curse was no accident, a prince's guilt, a witcher's blindness. Two silences that shaped a child into weapon. Did the code prepare him for this, for a monster born of men who called themselves fathers? The tapestry's thread still smolders. Ada's hunger is not endless, it is unanswered. And the verdict, a witcher's failure to see, to act, to break the cycle. The shrine's shadows stretch long. Geralt leaves, the hunger waits. Geralt's hand grips the hilt of his sword. Foltest's voice is a king's lie, smooth as poisoned wine. Ada's curse secured Temeria's spine, he says. The words hang thick as wrought, a mirror shatters. In its shards a face contorts jaw elongating, eyes bleeding black, not a monster, a prisoner. The Witcher Code to see, to act, to break the cycle. Geralt saw a prince's plea, he acted on a crown's hunger, the cycle tightened. Foltest's necessity was a harvest. Ada's heritage, raw and wild, became a weapon, a living lock on a throne, her pain a deterrent, her hunger a warning. What is a source but a spark in the wrong hand? What is a witcher but the shadow that lets it burn? The Princess Striga form writhes, half-formed in the glass, a body twisted by magic's cruelty, a soul warped by a man's ambition. Geralt's jaw clenches. The truth is a blade he cannot draw, Foltest's victory is a tomb, and in it a girl's spirit drowns, the vampire's mercy, the dryad's betrayal. Lies draped in virtue, the real monster wears a crown, the real curse is compliance. What good is a code that blinds? What good is a hand that does not tremble at the weight of its own silence? The mirror's reflection stretches, a face both familiar and abyssal. King's daughter Geralt's a hand's witch, world's hunger and eternal, chamber fire echoes, a turns, too sharp shadows stretch longer. And somewhere in a witcher's palace, monster a world's reigns hunger. The trial's chalk marks bleed on Kaer Morhen stone, Geralt's hands trembly oil rue and ash mix wrong, the fire sputters, a scent rises, burnt time too sharp. The girl's breath falters, her veins glow then darken, the ritual's formula scrawled in haste ends mid-syllable. A cipher left incomplete, the Witcher code cannot unlearn this. It binds unyielding, the locket falls cold. Inside, a ruby pulses with a heartbeat not its own. Blood stains the silver, seeping through filigree. The girl's eyes meet Geralt's, no longer a child's, but a thing hollowed. Her throat rips open, silent. The chamber's shadows thicken, clawing at the walls where the trial's failure is etched. A lesson in futility. What does a Witcher do when his cure is a prison? The locket's chain coils like a serpent, it whispers no promises, only hunger. The girl's soul, now weapon and wraith, will gnaw on forever, no redemption, no escape. The Witcher code demands balance, it gives this. The camera lingers on the formula's broken end, a cipher that cannot solve. Beyond the walls, a kingdom sleeps, unaware its monster was not made by a sorcerer but by a man who refused to see the cost of his oaths. The locket's ruby flares, a debt paid in eternity. A hunger no sigil can sate, the trial of the grasses cannot be unlearned, but its failures they fester. They echo, they become the shadows that stretch longer now as Geralt turns, and somewhere in a palace a monster reigns. The spade bites cold soil, a shroud is drawn over a girl whose breath no longer fogs the air. Her locket, warm until the last, lies in the grave. Payment was made in silver and promises, the Witcher rode on. Foltest's throat was slit by a dagger of gillet steel. The blade's hilt, carved with a serpent swallowing its tail, was left on the king's breast, Letho's signature. The throne now creaks under a new weight, blood or fear. High above, a locket glows, not in the grave but in the sky. A silver thread trails the wild hunt's flight. Ada's face, frozen in the locket's glass, now stares from the heavens. Her soul, never truly freed, follows the hunt's hunger, a curse masked as salvation. The Witcher code carves clean lines, asterisk know your enemy, asterisk but what of the collateral? The girl was not a monster, she was a variable, a problem to be solved. The silver paid, the contract sealed at the Striga's hunger, was never the beast in the woods. It was the refusal to see the girl as more than a task. The wild hunt's path brightens, Ada's light grows fainter, below a kingdom mourns a king. Above, a soul starves, the Witcher's ledger balances, the world does not. How many solutions are just new prisons? How many lives paid for in coin that cannot buy back what is lost? The locket's glow fades, the hunt's shadow lengthens. And the Witcher, ever pragmatic, turns his horse. Another contract awaits, 219 words. The Witcher code claims neutrality, a shield against blood-stained hands. Yet in saving Foltest's daughter, the Witcher became the architect of her torment. To slay a Striga is duty. To refuse the final strike is to become a midwife to its hunger. What is neutrality but a hymn to complicity? The child's curse was no accident, the transformation, a weapon forged by the Witcher's silence. He severed the mother's heart but left the daughters bound to eat a chain of vengeance, not justice. The code teaches, monsters are monsters. But what of the humans who feed them? The girl's eternal hunger mirrors the kings and hunters who see only tools. The Witcher's silver blade claims to choose. It chooses nothing, it reflects. In this light the Striga's wail is a prayer. The Witcher's hands clean, the world unchallenged. Such is the mercy of neutrality. To let the monsters bloom, to let the humans rot, and in the end who is more inhuman, the creature howling at the moon? Or the hand that shaped her, 179 words. The contracts never vary, Bloodborne's hunters sign in blood. The Witcher 3's contracts bind in silence, both demand a price paid in flesh. The camera cuts to a bloodstained parchment in a nameless realm. The Witcher schools in their golden age forged monsters as much as monsters they killed. A Striga's curse is not a failure of magic, it is a failure of will. The Witcher who bound Foltest's daughter to eternal hunger did not break the code, he became it. His scalpel carved a weapon from her soul, then called it justice. The cycle repeats, a child transformed, a kingdom saved, a monster unleashed. Who signs the next contract? The same hand that signed the first. The code's greatest illusion is that it distinguishes hunter from prey. 119 words. Sapkowski's words linger. Asterisk, the monster is a man, and the man is a monster. Asterisk, the wild hunt spectral horses thunder across a blood-rimmed sky, their riders cloaked in the shrieks of damned souls. Foltest's daughter no, Ada burns behind them, her form a flickering wraith, a girl and a Striga and neither. Her scream is a soundless fissure in the air, a hunger that gnaws at the edges of the world. The Witcher's silver blade, meant to sever curse from flesh, instead bound her to the very void it could not fill. How many times has the code called this asterisk balance asterisk? How many graves bear the same lie? The hunt carries her now not as savior, but as the price of a contract signed in silence. Her mother's tears, her father's rage ashes in the wind. Only the Striga remains, a mirror to the monsters who made her. The camera dissolves into the hunt's wake, where Ada's face is etched into the stars, forever howling, forever hungry. The monster is a man and the man is a monster. The code's neutrality was never a shield, it was a shroud, and beneath it the dead still whisper. What contracts turned Witcher cures into weapons? The code's silence forged Foltest's daughter into a Striga, a solution that starved a soul no accident. The Witch of Ellender's contract will expose